Why first generation Gen Zers from the United States are moving abroad for a better life.
You're telling me they're leaving the best country in the world to get a better
Yeah,
life? That's not possible.
that's what we've been told our whole life. And that's what people still say, that America is the best country on earth, that you have the best opportunity, the American dream is alive and well. But is that actually true?
I remember back in high school, it was always a thing where sometimes I would just talk with some of my friends and be like, "Oh, I don't think like the U.S. is that good of a country. I think some other countries, it would be so cool to live in Finland or Sweden. I don't think the U.S. is that good." And they'd be like, "Well, if you don't like it, just leave then." And yeah,
That's the mentality around here. I just saw a video of some guy that's kind of like an online Trump lover guy, and at the end of his video, because he got invited into the Oval Office, because if you have a following and you praise Trump, you get invited to things apparently. He was like, "I think everyone should just be proud and appreciative that they get to live in a great, beautiful country like the U.S. You're so lucky." And I was like, "Oh, all right, shut up."
all right,
Let's
nice.
jump into it. Here we go.
I thought I would fall in love with America and the American dream of like progressing and making something of yourself and feeling proud. I came to the realization recently that I actually didn't want this life. In some ways, it's very disappointing, but in other ways, I'm very accepting of that dream being dead, and I'm just ready to make new dreams.
Rania Sala is a first-gen American. She was born in Virginia. Her parents are Palestinian and lived in Falls Church, Virginia when they first came to the U.S. She spent her childhood in Jordan before coming back to America when she was 15. Rania attended American University on a full-ride scholarship and graduated in 2022 with a degree in public health. After struggling with job security and her health, she's decided to pack up her entire life and leave the U.S. for good.
That's
I
crazy that
graduated, immediately
she
started work.
had a full ride scholarship, finished her degree, and struggled with job security later.
Yeah, how is that even like possible? You got everything. You got everything from her good academics and stuff like that, I would assume, full ride, and then you still can't find a job after that? Is it really that hard to find jobs nowadays?
That's insane. We just uh, do whatever you'd call this.
Yep. We may not be living large, but it's
You don't
better
have to do
than
much to
being.
live like Larry.
Yeah, exactly. It's better than being job insecure and stuff like that. At least we just have to film some videos. Living like
But I have
Larry.
lupus, so my go was kind of forcibly stopped. I had to quit my job just because
Oh.
my lupus was getting really bad, and I worked with a
Oh,
lot of
she has
lupus
lupus.
patients, and that was
That
really
makes more
affecting my
sense.
mental health.
Yeah.
The United States is kind of the hub of autoimmune disorders. There were 10 many years ago, and just in America, we've developed over 100 kinds.
She shared her story of living
Well, you know
with
what
an
that's from, right? Vaccines.
The vaccines, yes, they cause autism too.
Yep. That's a joke, everybody. Please calm down.
autoimmune disease on TikTok, and it drew over 2.5 million
RFK
viewers.
Jr.
Guys, I kid you not. I went to my rheumatologist
They
today.
cause
He
autism.
was anticipating that a lot of my stress would go away when I move abroad, and therefore my lupus would get better, and also the quality of food.
He kept saying, "I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for you."
Even with her degree and certifications, Rania said she couldn't land a professional job.
Here I am, unemployed, pursuing my
Absolutely.
master's. I have many certificates aside from my bachelor's degree, and I can't even land like an administrative position.
What made you realize you needed to leave?
I think the
Crazy.
past 5 months where I hit 500 job applications, I
Oh my
got
gosh.
so depressed because I blamed myself. I felt valueless. I felt like my existence didn't matter. One day I was just speaking to my father, and he actually suggested, he's like, "You're not stuck there. You know that, right?"
So where are you going and when will you be moving?
So I am moving next week. I'm going to end up in Qatar. I have my sister there. She moved there a few years ago from London, and her life got so much better.
Interesting. Qatar. I mean, Qatar is not the country I would think of as like the a beacon of quality of like life, especially with like how they treat workers and stuff.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're pretty decent because they're so like modernized now, but also with how they might treat women as well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's an interesting one. Interesting one.
She's very, very happy, very
I mean, I
financially
guess if you're a doctor or whatever the heck she is in the medical field, you can probably go there, get a very nice job.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're a Palestinian in the U.S. right now, I'm sure it's much
Ooh.
worse for you there.
She was probably going to be deported anyways
Yeah.
for just being a Palestinian.
stable, and so it just seemed like the perfect option. It checked all my boxes.
Rania says it was hard to make ends meet in DC.
Rent is always a huge stressor, my car payments. On a day-to-day, it looks like your friend's asking you out to eat and you say, actually, I can't. It's going to the grocery store and looking for the deals.
Though inflation shows signs of cooling, food prices went up 3.3% from May 2023 to May 2024, according to the
What about
USDA. Rent has steadily increased since
Even
the
higher.
pandemic. One study by the New York Fed estimates that Gen Zers on average have about $21,000 of student debt. And we just aren't working with the same setup as our parents and grandparents. Incomes have not kept up with home prices.
Yikes.
The
My
American
God.
dream as a promise
That
that
is
have
so
not kept
messed. This is so messed up. And
This
the
isn't
thing
one of
is,
those like optical illusions either. The dots are not the same size.
and the thing is, people nowadays are so much more productive than they ever were because you have computers and all these like operating systems that do way more work for the businesses. But instead of all this extra money that these businesses are getting, they don't give it to the employees. They're just like, oh, more money. Thank you. And we're going to raise prices, by the way. Insane. It's insane.
Up with home prices.
the American dream as a promise that if you as an individual work hard and you will put all your efforts into making it out in the United States, the outcome is guaranteed. Well, that's not the case. Almost 20% of all immigrants around the world are in the United States.
Batalova says the
Wow, that's a
exact
lot.
number of Americans living abroad is hard to pin down, but the UN estimates that almost 3 million Americans live in other countries, which is an increase of over 1.2 million people since the 90s. Rania says she'll be keeping her American citizenship and will continue to pay taxes. But while she still has the right to vote, she's not planning on it.
I think American politics is a joke. Even if I had stayed, I wouldn't have voted in that election either. I think we're seeing that no matter which party is in power, no matter which face it is, it's kind of the same system.
Do you think there are any rights that you'll be giving up once you move to Qatar?
On the outside, it might seem like I am giving up my right to the democracy and to that kind of freedom, to say whatever I want, to do whatever I want. I think we have the illusion of freedom in America. I am going to a semi-conservative monarchy.
Yeah.
That being said, I am happy to give up my right to vote as a trade for a significantly better quality of life. I'm so lucky and privileged, and I will repeat this because I know a lot of people don't have the opportunity to just pick up and go. I do.
That is very interesting. I mean,
It's
it
an
is.
interesting point, like when she was mentioning her father was like, oh, you feel stuck, then well, you don't have to stay here or something like that. That is something that a lot of people probably don't realize, because obviously there's some people that can't afford or are actually stuck, but there are people that would make enough money to live in another place that just feel so inclined to stay because it's America, you know?
A lot of she had the, I guess, benefit of being in the medical field too, which I'm sure makes a huge difference because every country wants medical employees. They want doctors. They want different techs. If you don't have that, you probably have to have a lot of certain degrees in order to be like really wanted in other countries. That probably make it a lot easier to immigrate.
Yeah,
It's-
and yeah, she went to an American school, which typically is actually held in pretty high regard to internationally.
Yeah. So I'm sure that's a pretty nice degree to have. But it is interesting that she mentioned the illusion of freedom. And I feel like generally, depending on where you are and what the topic is, if people have the need and the like authorities have the need to keep telling you over and over, you're the freest, guys, you're the freest, be happy how free you are, we have the most freedoms, guys. It's probably not true, and it's probably just propaganda if they just try to drill it into your head over and over from the moment you're born.
Yeah, I mean, no place you're gonna be 1000% free. So, I mean, if they're constantly telling you that you are so free, it's a lie.
Well, the fact that the United States is the land of the free and it's actually not the freest country too is pretty rough.
Yeah,
That is.
that's one of the answers is to the title of the video, Why They're Leaving.
Wonder how many it is. They didn't show any statistics like of actually how many people are moving or anything. Just like that, there's a good chunk of Americans. It would be interesting to know the actual numbers and to
And it'd be so
where.
hard to tell like how many actually do leave. Because I mean, we technically both did, but we wouldn't be counted for sure as one because it's not like we actually moved. We just
No.
temporarily stay in other countries for long periods of time.
Yeah, yeah. So, who knows? Our immigration was to Southeast Asia and Georgia, the country of Georgia, which is probably not as common. Qatar is also an interesting one to choose,
Yeah.
I feel like.
Americans are everywhere.
Yeah, we are. No matter where you go, you can find a dang American. But
And I
hopefully you guys
still-
enjoyed the video.
It's still crazy to me. We run into so many Americans who like living in these different countries, but they still talk about how great America is. Why?
It's the land of the free, home of the brave. You got the First Amendment, which is malleable. Sometimes it's cool if you want to say racial slurs. It's cool to have the First Amendment, but as soon as you want to protest something, throw that thing out the window. Get out of here.
If you're
Get outta
protesting
here.
the party in power.
Get out of here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
Goodbye.
Bye.